So, I've got to make a video again about something that I've just discovered that's really satanic and evil. I've only just realised, I've only just found out, okay? The Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in the UK in the year 2022, they had this big, massive, gigantic bull rollout, didn't they? Right? I know that. I know they were bowing down, worshipping the bull in the middle of the arena. Baal worship. In the Commonwealth Games 2022 in Birmingham. I know that was Baal worship. What I didn't know is, apparently, the names on the head of the bull were the names of the 21 people that lost their lives in the Birmingham bombing. So not only do we have people bowing down to Baal, but we also have 21 names written on the head of the people that lost their lives in the Birmingham bombing. Baal is a god that requires sacrifice. Human sacrifice. And I found that dark. As soon as I figured that out, as soon as I realised, oh my, they're worshipping Baal with the 21 names on Baal's head of the people that lost their lives in the Birmingham bombing. Another blood ritual sacrifice under Baal. Covered up as a ceremony, as a Commonwealth Games ceremony in the UK. Not to mention, we also have this bull as well outside the Birmingham Stock Market Exchange or whatever it is. We have this bull there too. Once again, Baal, the calf. This goes way back to the Old Testament in Exodus. This is where the Israelites started worshipping the golden calf. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, he smashed the commandments on the floor because he caught them all bowing to a bull. And what we saw in the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in the UK in the year 2022 was Baal worship. They were bowing down to the bull. And it just so happens that the names on the bull's head, all over its head, were the 21 people that lost their lives in the Birmingham bombing. Blood sacrifice, or at least a ceremony in honour of Baal, and trying to use the Birmingham bombing and pull it with it and turn it into this sacrificial ceremony. Satanic. It is satanic. Even the bull's eyes had red bleeding eyes. The eyes were red and bleeding. It was demonic. King Charles stood on a balcony watching everybody bowing to a bull. Baal worship. And all the people in the crowd were like, did we not come here to watch sports? They're bowing to a bull. Is that not written in the Old Testament? The Israelites worshipping the bull. It's the same stuff coming upon the earth, guys. The spirit of Antichrist is in the world. And it's growing and growing and growing. And soon, in the not so distant future, the whole world, in the book of Revelation apparently, according to Revelation, according to John, the whole world worships the beast, the image of the beast. They set up another image of the beast, and the whole world and all who dwell on the earth worship that image of the beast. We had King Nebuchadnezzar set up a golden image of himself, didn't we, the leader? And that was a golden image that he forced everyone to bow down to. We had the golden calf with the Israelites in Exodus that they were all bowing down to and worshipping and partying and having orgies and all these different things around it. In the future, we're told in Revelation, they set up an image to the beast. Is that a golden image of a man, the Antichrist, or a golden image of the beast, the four-legged animal, the bull? Again, either way, the whole world is going to bow to this image of the beast in the future. It's insane, guys. It's absolutely crazy, right? And we've just had all this stuff come out about the Epstein Islands, right? And people are talking about how Epstein and all the elites are paedophiles and da-da-da-da-da. They want you to think that. Because you haven't scratched beneath the surface enough. You're like, oh, they're paedophiles, they're trafficking kids, da-da-da-da-da. Scratch further. Okay? They're sacrificing children to Baal. That's how they've got all their wealth. Okay? They get their wealth and power through making sacrifices to Baal. That's why in America, yes, all these children are going missing on a yearly basis. Because they're being sacrificed to Baal for material gain and power. That's why. What was happening in the Old Testament back in the day of like Moses and the Israelites is happening, it's coming again. It's coming back upon the earth. So I wanted to tell you all that. I wanted to share that with you, how the Birmingham bombing, the 21 people that were killed in the Birmingham bombing, their names were apparently written on the head of the bull, the beast they rolled out in the stadium, the Commonwealth Games in 2022. So they were worshipping Baal, the bull, and they had 21 dead people's names on its head as they were bowing to it. Blood sacrifice. Right? And then, not only that, there was a woman on top of the beast, which is the woman riding the beast in Revelation. And not only that, in this same Commonwealth Games, they had a Tower of Babel as well. A rebuilt Tower of Babel. So that ceremony was a satanic blood ritual, a sacrifice, on display with a Tower of Babel and Baal. It was Baal worship. This world is evil. And not only that, we also had this parade in Paris where they rolled out these big walking statues of Baal. Of the bull again. They rolled it out in the crowds of Paris and it was Baal. It was a big bull. And they had Lilith. These are demons, guys. These are demonic false gods that are starting to come upon the earth in images, in the form of statues. Okay? Baal. You had the Commonwealth Games 2022. Baal. You had the France parade. Once again, they rolled out of the bull. Baal. Okay? You've had these ceremonies in Brazil, these parades in Brazil where they're rolling out Satan, Baal floating statues. You need to understand what's going on, guys. The world's changing. And the people that are blind on the earth, they don't see what we see and they call us crazy. We're crazy conspiracy theorists. We're mentally ill. They don't understand what they're talking about. It's right in front of your face. The world is starting to do Baal worship on the TV for the whole world to see. And going back to the Commonwealth Games, yeah, that bull, there's something else I didn't tell you. They placed all the flags of every nation, 72 nations or 71 nations. They placed all the flags around the bull. They placed all the flags of every nation around Baal, the beast. What are we told in the book of Revelation? And all who dwell upon the earth shall worship the beast, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Okay? All who dwell on the earth, every tribe, tongue and nation will worship this image of the beast. Is it Baal worship again? Is it really AI or is it Baal worship? We don't know, do we? But it's interesting how they're bowing down to a beast. And crowds all over the world are wondering after these beast images of bulls, Baal. It's insane, guys. Got some clips here for you to watch. Unbelievable.
Pay close attention. You're going to want to go look this up. And I give the full details completely documented in the second edition of the Antichrist and Cup of Tea. Here it is, July 28th, at the Commonwealth Games, the 22nd Commonwealth Games for 2022. You have these every few years. They've been going on the whole time. The Queen Elizabeth II was queen. It's the largest set of international games in the world after the Olympics. And this year they had 72 nations and territories participating. Roughly, they estimate almost a third of the world's population potentially watching. Okay, the whole British Commonwealth. At this event, Prince Charles opened it in lieu of the Queen on her behalf. He oversaw the whole thing. He was there in person at the Alexander Stadium in Birmingham, England. Okay. At that event, a giant molech bull, 10 meters in height, was rolled out into the center of the stadium to be worshipped and to face a large rebuilt right there in front of everybody, mock Tower of Babel with shards in it. And it begins with a star exploding in our solar system. That's how they introduced this. A lot of CGI initially. They portray a star outside our solar system, or maybe deep in our solar system, blowing up past Saturn. And it explodes a bright star like Lucifer. That's what it is, exploding. And its shards fly through our solar system, and they reach Earth. And they land in all the nations of the Commonwealth. And these 72 quote-unquote dreamers, New Agers, find these shards outside their homes. They retrieve them. The first person to do so is named Stella. She picks it up. It's lit. It's brightly lit. It's like a large quartz crystal. It's bright white, lit as bright white, like an interior light, as it were, bright white. She picks this thing up and she prays to it, whispers to it and prays to it. Then she takes this back to her home. All these others, these 72 dreamers, there's 72 of them total, including her, pick their shards up and they take them to their homes. As soon as they do, there are anti-gravity effects in their homes. Things start to float in the air, and then their homes are lifted up off the ground with these people in them, and they float across the Commonwealth from other nations and across the UK, across seas and oceans and lakes and forests and so forth, to Birmingham, England, to be over the stadium. All these homes floating over the stadium, and then they land. And the dreamers exit them in front of the audience, and they have the shards in hand. The bull then comes onto the stadium, pulled by slavish women on chains. The bull, they portray this, rebels and detaches from the chains. And these female slaves who've been driven by somebody who's kind of like a Roman, a demon, whatever, because he didn't quite look like a Roman, are freed, right? So now the bull and these women are freed, and they pretend they're afraid of each other. And the bull goes on to the center of the stadium, and these quote-unquote dreamers, these New Agers, encircle the thing. But initially, before they do that, Stella comes with her crystal. She and 5 others, there are 6 of them, 6 of the dreamers, apart from these slavish women who are behind now on the bull to either side of it as it's moving, kind of charging actually into the center of the stadium. Okay, from the track from just outside where it's entered, now detached from its chain, no longer restrained. Okay, charges into the center of the stadium. Stella, wanting to appease this thing so that they're not killed by this Molech idol, goes with this New Age crystal, approaches it slowly with these 5 other dreamers. She's got the crystal in her left hand, and then she puts her hand up to the nose of the bull, and it bows down so that she can touch its nose with the crystal in her hand. She's the only one holding her crystal at that point. And the bull is, at least at that moment, appeased. And there's a whole backstory to this, and they say things, they announce things to the audience, about peace, love, friendship, yada, yada, conflict resolves, slaves freed, all this kind of stuff. And as this is happening, the slavish, and there are multiple stages to this, so I'm going to be skipping over some things, but this bull kind of calms down. It's facing the Tower of Babel this whole time. And at times there are flames like the flames of hell all over this Tower of Babel, okay? And it's facing this thing. The bull is. They encircle it multiple times, and they literally worship it. They've all got their crystals in hand. They bow down to this thing. And then later, Stella gets atop it and rides it as the woman riding the beast. And there are then 71 dreamers encircling it. And they're bowing down to this thing, worshiping it, and literally doing a New Age worship ceremony with their crystals before this thing, and inviting the whole Commonwealth to join them in this worship. And who's overseeing all of this? Prince Charles. And then the woman's riding the beast, right? And as we get toward the end of the ceremony, and there are a bunch of songs, by the way, they're accommodating this with significant lyrics, okay? And I won't go into that, but it's all documented in the book. At the end, okay, as it's getting dark.
Which book is this?
This is going to be in the second edition of the Antichrist a Cup of Tea. One reason it's a little bit delayed is I have to get this in there. It's too critical. Okay? Right there at the end, the bull is rearing back. So it's rising up on its front feet. Okay? And it's encircled by the flags of all these nations, the 72. They've literally placed their flags at the base of this thing. So not just worshiping it with their crystals and all the rest, and not just being ridden by Stella, the woman riding the beast. Now the tower is rising again before this beast. It's been built. And all the nations, by the way, their names have gone across this tower already, at this point been displayed on its surface. At the top of this tower, I told you those shards came down earlier from the heavens, this blown up Luciferian star, representing the devil, reaching the earth, falling to the earth. The devil falling to the earth, okay? And being taken up by these New Agers. So they all approach, they leave the bull now, but the flags are at the base of the bull, showing the nations are all worshiping around this bull, the 71. And I'm going to come back to the number 71. It's extremely significant. But at any rate, they all come to the base of this tower with their shards in hand, and they stick them into the side of the tower, and they ascend visibly through the tower. And as they get toward the top of the tower, they form this ball, the original star that blew up, reconstituted, and then it rises above the tower, and you get this huge disco-like ball atop the tower that's lit up very brightly, and a beam of light goes between that ball and the chest of the bull. Now it's nighttime at this point in Alexander Stadium, an open-air stadium, so you can see these lights, but they are portraying the rebuilding of the Tower of Babel in our day, with Lucifer being over it, being worshipped by all the nations of the world. And why do I say all? I said that the 72 dreamers were for the 72. They're for the 72 nations and territories of the British Commonwealth, right? Stella being the 72nd, she's riding the bull. Why 71 worshiping around the bull? Okay, how does that represent all the nations? Well, here's the deal. At the Feast of Tabernacles every year, Israel would sacrifice 70 bulls, not 71, 70. And Israel's rabbis historically understood that to represent the nations that came out of the scattering from the Tower of Babel. So they took those 70 to represent the nations of the world. And the way Christians and often the rabbinic community have interpreted those 70 bulls that were sacrificed, they would say, well, we have our God and we worship him and we do sacrifices on behalf of Israel. This is how it would be interpreted, right? So these 70 are for the nations. And oftentimes Christians look at that and they think this is a sacrifice on behalf of the nations, so that maybe their sins would be forgiven. The ones who don't worship the God of Israel at the Feast of Tabernacles each year, it was never that. That is not what it ever in history represented. So I'm going to come back to what it did represent in a moment. It did represent the 70 nations, that's correct. But the reason there were 71 around the base of this bowl is because Israel was included. You see, the nation of Israel came after the 70 at the Tower of Babel, right?
Interesting.
So now they're saying, oh, Israel, by the way, you're not going to worship your God anymore. You're going to worship Lucifer with us. So there are 71 instead of 70 at the base of this bowl, led by the woman riding the beast, representing, if you want, the harlot church under the Antichrist, okay? Well, what were the sacrifices really about at Tabernacles, the 70 bowls? Was it for the sins of the nations? I'm going to tell you no. It was their death and destruction, their crushing by the Messiah at Armageddon. That's what it really represented. When God, our God, sacrifices the nations like brute beasts, man without understanding is like the beasts that perish.
They are worshipping Satan in front of you. How much more obvious do you want them to make it? They could write Satan in glowing letters on the side of this beast, and it wouldn't be any that much more obvious. And Hazel would still be like, Satan, it's the Birmingham word for fishmongers. Weeping blood from the eyes of a giant satanic iron bull. as people raise fallen star crystals over their head in a strange ritual. Look at the people in the crowd. The people in the crowd is like, huh? I came here because I like high jump.
Magic again.
You know? Hazel, what do you got for this one?
Call for a moment of reflection and reconciliation. I thought that was Jenny Lemon coming back.
Bro, just buy a subscription to jennylemon.com, would you? Okay? Stop bothering everyone else.
And they lift
Man.
away the
These BBC commentators, I would not like to see their hard drives, that's all I'm saying.
And he will be revealed as an iconic symbol of light.
He will be revealed as an iconic symbol of light. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone with any sort of biblical understanding or understanding of the spiritual world knows that they are referring to Lucifer, ladies and gentlemen. This is worship of fallen angels going on right in front of your face. You might not believe in the devil, but trust me, they do it at the BBC. Okay? This is basically a trailer for him coming into the world. People that don't think we're living near the end times, have you seen what I'm seeing?
Symbol of light and love.
Bro, this Andrew guy is trying to convince you that a giant red satanic bull bleeding from the eyes is a symbol of love. On a level. This guy's tapped, bro.
And the now free and at peace bull of Birmingham really is the symbol for this Commonwealth Games.
Oh yeah, the at-free satanic bull it's absolutely the symbol of the Commonwealth Games, Andrew. Yeah, you absolutely nailed it. Yeah, you're not reading from a script. No, you're just shooting from the hip. Sure.
He will, by the way, have a permanent place in the centre of Birmingham when these games end, and he will become the symbol of this theatrical and inspiring open ceremony and these games.
Notice how they're referring to this bull as he. They're referring to this beast as an entity of its own. They're like, he will become the symbol that we will fall down and worship. These people, man. And it's all as an angel of light. Satan will come, reveal himself to you as an angel of light. Look at this. This bull was clearly satanic. It even bled from the eyes. And now they're like, oh, it's light and peace and love, and fall down and worship the bull. You see where they're leading you?
femme d'Adam. Je n'ai peur de personne, ni d'Hadès, ni de Satan, je suis Lilith. La dernière, je resterai jusqu'à la fin des temps. Vous ne m'oublierez jamais, ni dans vos nuits, ni dans vos rêves. Je suis Lilith, la guerrière, je brise les ailes du vent. Je ne crois en rien, je dévore le soleil, j'avale la lumière, je fracasse le mur du temps, je suis Lilith.
La jeune fille sombre n'a pas de nom, pas d'origine. Ses yeux sont transparents. Les murs du Capitole. Le néant la précédant et le vide la suit. Le néant la précède et le vide la suit. Tout se plie.
Things first, a sigil is a symbol used in magic, often representing a specific intent, concept, entity, or a complex idea. The term sigil comes from the Latin word sigillum, meaning seal. In its broadest sense, a sigil is any glyph or character with mystical or magical significance. The sigil of Lucifer represents Lucifer, a complex character in Christianity. It's also known by a few other names: Seal of Satan, Sigil of Satan, Sigillum Diabolus, Sigillum Luciferi, and Sigillum Satanas. There's also a symbol called the Leviathan Cross, also known as a cross of Satan or the brimstone symbol. It features an infinity symbol with a double-barred cross located at the midpoint. The infinity sign represents the eternal universe, while the double-barred cross symbolizes protection and balance between people. The connection between Leviathan, brimstone, an archaic word for sulfur, and Satanists likely springs from the fact that the Leviathan cross is a symbol for sulfur in alchemy. Sulfur
is a Canaanite and Phoenician deity, and the son of the chief god El. In artistic depictions and archaeological finds, Baal took the shape of a bull or ram and had associations with fertility. This god also, apparently according to Canaanite lore, defeated El and had associations with the sun and thunder. And of all the foreign gods the Israelites came into contact with, they appeared to struggle the most with worshipping this one. One of the most famous instances of Israel going head-to-head with the prophets of Baal comes from 1 Kings 18. In this chapter, the prophet Elijah and the prophets of Baal have a showdown to prove the power of their god and gods. Elijah remains silent during the exchange, whereas God showers a sopping wet altar with fire. All 450 prophets of Baal do not escape the slaughter that takes place after that. In short, Scripture has nothing positive to say about Baal. Most often, it condemns Baal worship. An example of Israel going after Baal leads to their loss of direction and, ultimately, scattering at the hands of the Assyrians and the Babylonians.
Know who we are. It is the dead who is being mocked. The dead are being mocked. Look at them. They think that they're having fun. It won't be fun where they're going. And as always, they have to bring the beast out. They have to masquerade the beast. Now, of course, cows are not evil, bulls are not evil. It is what they are representing, the beast. As they did in the United Kingdom at the Commonwealth Games. Wake up. If you're asleep, wake up. It's not a game. It truly isn't.
Say hello to my little cat. My cat's come in to see us. I've got another one down there as well. That's my cat. He's male. His name's Casper. Anyway, as you can see in this video, the Commonwealth Games in the year 2022 was satanic. It was Baal worship. They're bowing down to our Baal. Let me show you one more time on the screen so you can see. They're bowing down to the beast. They're bowing down to this big mechanical Baal. Okay? You can't make this up, guys. And then we had the Baal parade with the big bull, Baal, in Paris. Okay? We've had some in Brazil, mocking Jesus in Brazil, where we're dragging Jesus around. The devil is dragging Jesus around. They had a Baal bull floater there. They had a devil there. They are mocking Christianity and Jesus. And at the Paris Commonwealth, the Paris Olympics Games ceremony a couple of years ago, they mocked the Last Supper of Jesus Christ. And then they had the rider on the white horse riding out with all the nations, the flags following him. rider on the right horse. And then they showed us like this pale crystal horse going along the water. Pale horse, rider named Death. All the nations following after these horses, and they mock Jesus with loads of transvestites at the Last Supper. Now, I don't have anything against LGBT or, you know, the homosexuals or transvestites. What they do with their lives is entirely up to them. But when you start mocking my religion and my faith and my God, then we have a problem. So transvestites were mocking the Last Supper in the Olympics at Paris. Disgraceful, despicable, disgusting. And they also had where this, I think it was an orchestra or something, there was people gathered around in white. And on the wall, they had a golden bull head at that same Olympics in France where they mocked the Last Supper. They had a golden bull head on the wall. Once again, Baal. Baal is everywhere, guys. The bull is everywhere. And we've just recently, I've just covered a video here. I've just covered a video of the last, this Winter's Olympics ceremony was also satanic with a satanic pentagram, the Baphomet goat head. They do it every year, guys. Enough is enough. I hope you're awake to it now. The gospel of your salvation is written in 1 Corinthians 15, 3-4. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. Believe in that gospel of Christ's death, burial and resurrection, and you shall be saved. One more thing before I go that ties into this. Recently, the last few days, something's been going on in Iran. Iran are calling the Western leaders Baal worshippers. They've put a banner up here and it's got Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, Mohammed bin Salman, Jeffrey Epstein, and it's got the UK flag, the American flag, the LGBT flag, the Israel flag. They've put this out saying all the West are Baal worshippers. Down with America, down with the UK, down with Israel. Right? They also set up a statue of Baal. There's also a statue of Baal in Iran. And they set fire to it. Here's the footage of that now. There was Israel and American flags attached to it. And they set fire to it and started throwing rocks at it. They think that we're Baal worshippers. Because of what our world leaders are doing and the elite are doing. Sacrificing children for material gain, power, wealth. Here's the footage of that. So that's going to be it for this video. Keep an eye out what's going on, especially between America and Iran and Israel, because something's about to happen there. America are Baal worshippers. The leaders are Baal worshippers. The West, they're not good. Don't think our leaders are good. They're Baal worshippers. Here's Zelensky here. Look at his little pin, his little badge that he wears here. Look at his little badge. What's that mean, guys? Baal worshipper? They're all bad from the West. Don't be thinking that the East are completely bad. Don't believe the full agenda they're trying to play out, saying that Russia's the bad guys. We need to World War III with Russia. We need to fight Russia. We need to attack Iran, stop their nuclear facility and all this. While there is some truth to these people, these countries being bad, our leaders are worse. Okay? They are. They're sacrificing young babies and children to Baal and Molech. If you don't believe me, research the youl Molech in Bohemian Grove, where there's footage out there from Alex Jones of them burning children in the fire.
Once again this night, and in the flames that eat thine effigy, we shall read the sign, Midsummer sets us free. You shall burn me once again. Not with these flames, which hither ye have brought from regions where I reign. Ye fools and priests, I spit upon your fire. Begone, dull care. Fire shall have its will of thee. Begone, dull care. And all the winds make merry with thy dust. Hail, fellowship's eternal flame. Once again, Midsummer sets us free.
Where the fuck is the owl statue? Is that it? Oh my god, that's it. Is that actually it? Yeah, there's like no water in this. You see all the pictures online. Holy fuck. Dude, I'm actually here. This is insane. I actually made it. Bohemian Grove, bitches. I'm here. If I shine this light for any longer, I might get fucked. Yeah. This is the owl statue. What the fuck? No way. This is fucking cool. Oh, that's hollow. They need to fill this pond up. Yeah, that's the owl. A bunch of ferns have grown on it. This is what I wanted to see.
That's what it sounds like and looks like to me. God bless.
They worshipped a deity called Moloch or Molech. It was a deity that was an aspect of Nimrod, who keeps coming up everywhere, of course. And what they used to do is sacrifice children to Moloch or Molech. They put them through the fire. And in the Old Testament, you see prophets condemning the people for putting their children through the fire to Moloch or Molech. When I've talked to contacts, therapists and what have you around the world who work with satanically abused people, what those people tell them is that, again, when they're sacrificing children, the deity in the modern world today that they use to sacrifice them to is Moloch or Molech. Same seamless stream. So the question comes in relation to this: how do they symbolize Moloch or Molech, this deity to which they sacrifice children? They do it, symbolize him as an owl.
go, go.
He will, by the way, have a permanent place in the centre of Birmingham when these games end, and he will become the symbol of this theatrical and inspiring open ceremony and these games.
Notice how they're referring to this bull as he. They're referring to this beast as an entity of its own. They're like, he will become the symbol that we will fall down and worship. These people, man. And it's all as an angel of light. Satan will come reveal himself to you as an angel of light. Look at this. This bull was clearly satanic. It even bled from the eyes. And now they're like, oh, it's light and peace and love, and fall down and worship the bull. You see where they're leading you?